right, welcome guys to another episode of Conversation with Myuze. I have a special guest here with us today. You guys are going to enjoy this episode. So I'm all about girl power and I'm all about encouraging females and female empowerment. Not like some girls that's just like, oh my gosh, I encourage females, but they really don't. Like, I live this. So this episode is going to be really, really great. I have the beautiful, the talented Sky Excell. I love her so much. Welcome, Skye, to the show. Hi. How are you
Hey
doing?
guys, what's going on?
How are you doing today?
I'm doing good. It's Sunday, fun day for me today.
Oh yeah,
And
that's
this is the best way to start it off.
absolutely, absolutely. What do you normally do on Sundays?
I usually wake up and like our first thing is we go to the beach and wash off for the week.
Mm-hmm.
And then like, to erase the past week and all of that. And then I usually come home and then Sunday dinner have to
Sunday
start.
dinner, right? Oh my gosh, I love that. Like cleanse the energy for the week.
Yeah,
Oh, that's
it's
super
so like
fun.
you'll be so surprised. Like, I don't know if anyone else does it, but go out there and like just go and wash off, and the earlier the better. And you'll be so surprised. You don't feel it all the way like right away, but
Mm-hmm.
like as the day goes by and like by the time Monday morning starts, you're like ready to go.
Oh, that's amazing. I'm gonna try that. Like when growing up, Sundays used to always be about beach, but we're just like, oh, it's
Hmm.
beach. Like, you're not
You
thinking
think it's
about
just
anything like
culture?
it. Yeah, but now that you're saying it's like cleansing and freeing, take notes, people, because that's amazing. That's really amazing. So obviously I know you, I love you. Tell the people a little bit about you and what you do before we jump into the conversation, because I can just run over your accolades, right? But tell them who Sky Excell is and what you do.
Okay, guys. Okay, yes, my name is Skye Excell. I'm a model and an actress, and I'm also a business owner. As of lately, I've been like, the whole COVID pandemic, I've like kind of switched everything to online based mostly, and I'm waiting for summer. I cannot wait for summer. But I'm also like, if you know me, you probably know. But if not, like, I'm just all about the universe and love and light. And I feel like everybody has a purpose here, and they should just be walking in it every day. And that's like one of my things. Like, even if I meet a stranger, I'm just like hoping and praying and whatever I could say to inspire and get them on their path.
Hmm.
Like, that's like what I'm really passionate about.
That's absolutely amazing. So, how did you get into acting and modeling? Because I've known you for so long, right? And this is
Yeah.
always like, I know you modeling, I know you acting, going to acting classes and doing all that fun
Yeah.
stuff. How did you get into acting and modeling?
It's so funny because I didn't even realize how I got into it till after. Because I feel like every girl has that dream as a little girl, like,
Yeah.
oh my God, you're seeing Tyra and Naomi, and it's like I really want to do this. But like for me, there was nothing else I ever wanted to do. Like, when you're a little kid with
Mm-hmm.
Jamaican parents, they're like, yeah, I want to be a lawyer, a doctor, a nurse, or something. So you kind of get accustomed to that.
Yeah.
But all that stuff wore off for me. And my dad, he had a camera, and I guess that was like his hobby, camera and guitar.
Okay.
And then like Saturdays, Sundays, like summertime, he would just like tell me to get up and come outside and take pictures of me.
Oh,
And
that's
I didn't
amazing.
realize, like when I look back at those pictures, I'm like, oh my God. But now I realize that the universe was priming me for exactly the path that I was supposed to be taking. And it
Mm-hmm.
was coming through my dad. He wasn't forcing me to be a model. He was like, this was just his hobby,
Yeah.
but it really primed me up and got me ready.
That's interesting because growing like you said, growing up, a lot of kids is like, oh, I want to be a model, but then obviously by the time they get older, that kind of
Hmm.
washes away because society changes that or whatever your circumstances changing that. So you're saying as a kid, you already knew, like subconsciously, there was already this thing of I want to be model or actress
I
or
want to be
kind
a
of just
star. Like
entertainer.
I just always wanted to shine. Like I guess because my mom's a Leo and Leos are so like I'm here. So like I had that kind of subconsciously embedded in me, and then mixed with what I really wanted to do, it
Hmm.
kind of just worked out for me.
That's amazing. And I love how you said your dad kind of just took up the camera because a lot of times people don't realize that life gives us pebbles. Oprah always said this thing where she was like, life comes at us and first you get it in pebbles, like something happened, then you get it in like a big rock getting thrown at you. So life gives
Mm,
you trails of things that subconsciously we're not thinking about, but it kind of
mhm.
puts us on our path and it's for us to recognize that path. So for me, and you started off saying like that you're big on the universe, so that for me is like somehow knew your path and life was just kind of dropping those pebbles along the way. So that's amazing.
That's so dope. Pebble talk. I like that.
Pebble talk. Now tell us a little bit about what was your first gig, whether it was with modeling or acting. What was your first gig?
Like the first one, or like a major one that I remember. I
Yeah,
remember
probably
like
like
the
a major one that you remember.
like mainstream, because that was my goal. I was like, I remember being in high school at Piper, and like the video girls that were out at that time,
Mm-hmm.
like there was a couple of Jamaicans. I don't know if you remember when ethnicity just started. I was like, I'm gonna be one of them, and I don't
Yeah.
care what I gotta do. I gotta be one of them. And it didn't happen right away. It took me
Mm-hmm.
like a long time to get up there, but when I got there and I did like my first video, my goal was to be in a scene with the celebrity by myself. Like I
Okay.
wanted like a solo, because that's when them say you're really bust, right?
Yeah.
So when I did that, Khaled did his tour, his Grateful tour, and like he put, man, that was a great summer. Like he really put me on, and I got the opportunity, and it was like being ready, being there to be with Rick Ross in the scene by himself. I don't remember the song now, but it's like him, Big Sean, I think Travis Scott's in it, and I was just like, I'll never forget leaving that shoot, and I was like, I made it. Like whether the video would have even made it to like the TV still, if the
Mm-hmm.
edits wouldn't have worked, I was still like, I made it. So to me, that was like my first like big moment that I had.
Right. That's super interesting because and I always just try to relate something back to there's perception and there's reality. And your reality is you knew, like, you know how some people build that vision board and it's just like, oh, I want to have this, this, this. You knew that my goal initially is to be like in the lead scene, right? So it's like
Yeah.
you work your way to that. How challenging is it to break into the industry? Because like I said, you've been in the videos you just mentioned with like Rick Ross and like
Yeah.
Lil Wayne, etc. How challenging was it for you to break into the industry?
It was hard because it's Miami and everybody's pretty and everybody want to put on and
Mm-hmm.
everybody's going hard. But what I see the difference is not everybody's consistent with it. And a lot of people think that they're just gonna like get to do it the next day.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-mm. It was very, very hard. Like, oh my God, just like even thinking back and looking back on this journey, it was so hard. Like it was so hard because like one, I'm a brown girl, you know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? The industry has changed so much. Like the good old days of Pharrell and Jay-Z where had our like good bona fide like
Yes.
substantial brown girls, it kind of like the trend has unfortunately like took a turn where they kind of want like this whole mixed thing is
And
in. It was, so I
Latino
had this
or
battle and I had to be
mm-hmm.
like put myself up every day. Like people would never think that pretty girls have like certain problems, but
Mm-hmm.
you do. And it
Mm-hmm.
was really hard. I had to really work my way up this ladder.
That's
What you see,
crazy.
it's not all like glitz and glamour. A lot of tears, a lot of long nights, a lot of like a lot of like just down moments. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
No, you're
Yeah.
right. That's consistency that you speak of. A lot of people lack that in any kind of
Hmm.
business or for that role, your modeling and acting role. Consistency is key there, but consistency is key in any business. We're going to transition a little bit
Yeah.
later and speak about some of your entrepreneurial stuff because I can imagine consistency is also required there as well.
Hmm.
Before I do switch gears, how is it because you're in Miami? Now you're in Miami for a little bit, but this is where you kind of had your start, etc.
Hmm. My
And like
stomping ground.
exactly, and there's so many pretty girls in Miami. Like if you want to see pretty girls, just come to Miami or just go to South Beach or something. How was it for you? How is it to overcome hearing no or not booking a gig or not getting the call back from a role that you just auditioned from?
Hmm.
If you ever experienced that, because some people haven't. So if you have experienced that, how is it? How did you overcome that? I think.
Listen, y'all, it's a whole lot of no's before you get to that big yes,
Mm-hmm.
okay? How to overcome it, I used to go home and cry to my big brother. I'm joking. No, I wouldn't. And then it's that support system is so big too. But after a while, I'm like, you know what, this isn't about me. And I had this bomb acting teacher. Her name was Stephanie St. James.
Mm-hmm.
And she's older than me. She was my coach. And she used to say, like, you go to audition, that's your audition. Like,
Mm-hmm.
that's your mindset. She was going to auditions with Janet Jackson. This is from like that time, and Janet would get the role, probably like antics, whatever. But she was like, you know what? Janet Jackson took my role, and that's how she left her
Mm-hmm.
audition.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of try to take that mindset and be like, today for you, tomorrow for me. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying?
Yeah.
Go home and just keep going,
Yeah.
like stay positive. Like manifestation is really, really real. And you see that like there's so many strengths that are built during those storms of the tears and the no's and all of that. And I think the universe is testing you. Like you wanted this so bad. Let me see how bad you want it.
That is, you kind of struck a nerve for me right there.
Woo! Sunday we at church, y'all. We at church, y'all.
Because manifestation, I always tell people that life and death is in the power of the tongue, right? If you say it,
Yes.
then it will, and you start believing it, it will start happening. So for you to even bring that up is just like, I got chills for a moment. That is crazy. Transitioning a little bit, I know that you mentioned at the top of the conversation that you are a business owner. Tell us a little bit about your entrepreneurial experience and how did you transition into that?
Yeah, here. So, back to culture again. I feel like we all grow up just like doing here. We have to help ourselves. Shout out to
Yes.
Stacy, you know what I'm saying? Like we
Yes.
just had to do this. So I remember being on sets all the time, and I like, of course, we getting our hairstyle too. We getting makeup. There's that kind of always like kind of like a set crew doing everything, and then I just kind of like seen an opportunity. I don't know how it happened all the way. I remember that I was kind of when I peaked out at that point.
Mm-hmm.
My second goal was when I have that seconds of fame, you have to do something with it because it's only if it's 15 seconds more time, you don't know when you're going to get it again. So I always wanted to have like a product or something ready to go when that happened. And it just struck me like, I guess it was the universe again. It was a little more pebbles because my mom did hair when she came from Jamaica.
Okay.
Like later on, she ended up telling me, like, after I started my business and, got it off the ground, she was like, wow, I guess this was really in you because I was pregnant with you in hair school. I'm like, wow, you wait
Mm.
20 something years to tell me that? Like, it's so crazy. They want so much more for us, but what's in you is in you. You can't take it out. You know what I'm
Absolutely.
saying?
That's
So it
great.
started there. And then I like little by little just started branding my business and got into the Skye tracks. And I'm like, I really went through the ladder with that too. I had to start from my logo, start from Noah's people like ill, like, you know what I'm saying? And
Mm-hmm,
go right
mm-hmm,
up to the same process.
mm-hmm. So Skytrax here is a full service business where you
Yeah.
hairstyle for celebrities and also just like regular people. So anyone can kind of visit you.
Yeah. Anyone.
Um, and the passion you're saying it came from kind of just culture and what you're influenced by being on set, where it's just like you see all
Mhm.
these girls getting their hair done. One of the things we always hear about is on set they don't know how to care black girls' hair, right? Or they
Right.
don't know how to style us or give us the wig with the lace front that's still peeking out or whatever.
Yeah.
So you kind of burst into that, like, you know what, I saw a problem here and I want to solve it with what I know.
Definitely.
That's
Definitely.
that's
Definitely.
amazing. Transition is super, super challenging. How did you decide when to transition? So obviously you still doing your modeling and acting, but
Hmm.
to take kind of a turn into the hair industry and even in, like you said, pandemic happened and now you're trying to put everything
Hmm.
online. How has that transition been for you? Or how do you know what, it's time for me to kind of switch gears and do something else?
Yeah, because I think when you're kind of like peaking out. And for me, like I failed, yes, and all that, but I'm really geared so much towards success and I'm Aquarius, we're always 10 steps ahead. We have to make sure that like we don't fall off, like things are like staying on point, like all of that. So I'm always looking for like the next thing. I want to tap into every market. They
Mm-hmm.
say the millionaires need like what, 7 streams
Streams
of
of
income, and
income,
I'm trying
yeah.
to get there. So I got beauty on lock.
Hey, hey. I love that. I love that. Now we see that you we speak about being on set. We see you with a lot of great opportunities really. Recently we saw that you were doing the amazing
Right.
spices here. How did
Yeah.
you like how did that come about? Because I know like you said it's a hard industry to tap in at any
Mhm.
level. How did that come about where you're able to work with people of people like Spice?
I think that it's that whole networking thing. And like I said, like I didn't putting so much years into the craft, you meet so many different people. You're meeting photographers, makeup artists, people on set. And I just got the opportunity. My girl does her makeup and was like, hey, Spice needs a hair. She knows I did her hair. And I was like, ready. That's what I'm talking about. That
Mm,
whole ready thing. Like you need to be ready when they call you. And it's that one time, like you don't know what's gonna happen. And I just know it was God. And I went there and I remember working with her and I was like, this is so funny. Like I had a little bit of ego because I'm usually the one in the chair, you know what I'm
yes.
saying? But it's like such a great opportunity. And once I shook that off, I'm like, wow, like I'm in such a position of power right now. Like
Mm-hmm.
I built this and this is a level up. You know what I mean? And like talking to her and like just taking that more energy from her. Like I'm always taking it in because I want to get higher too.
Yes.
You know, so it was
Yes.
just amazing. And it was good for me because I knew how fast sets had to move. So she was like, please, like I wasn't like, you know what I'm saying? Like, oh my God,
You
like
didn't
I knew like,
freeze on the
okay, no, it's
spot.
set time. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
set time. You gotta do them here, get them changes, keep on going. Long nights. It was like Thanksgiving night. I'll never forget. We left there like 4 o'clock in the morning from like 6 in the evening.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like it's just real work, but I love what I do and I
Mhm.
love set life, period. So whatever it would have been there, like I'm in my groove, in my atmosphere, you know?
You're there to
Yeah.
serve, whether it's you're in front of the camera or you're behind the camera,
Or
you're there to
behind.
serve.
So now I know I have the real love for it.
Hey, hey. Because you could have been like, you know what? I've always been behind the camera, and now for me to be working with the person behind it, like I don't want this, I don't want this at all. And like you said, you brought
Yes.
up ego. I
Hmm.
This is kind of off topic, but I'm glad that you said that because ego is a lot of times the downfall of a lot of people. Ego and pride, right?
Yeah.
They think that I'm too big for this. Nobody can see me doing this X Y Z.
Mhm.
And for you to say, you know, you put your ego aside and you put your pride aside because you know what you wanted and you kind of wanted to work towards that. So that's great. That's a nugget for everyone out there. Your ego and your pride can be put aside so it can put you through doors that you need. Um,
Trust me, man.
so you spoke about networking a little bit. Speak to me a little
Mhm.
bit more about how important that is, right? Because there's a lot of people who, like you said, in your industry, whether it's in that hair industry, if you don't have clients and a clientele and you build from that, you're
Mhm.
not making money, right? So
No.
how do you go about networking for yourself, or how important is networking to any business? Talk to us a little bit about that.
It's so important. And keep your face clean. Like, don't burn bridges with people. Doesn't
Mm,
matter if people do you bad or they don't return your calls or like people flake. Like, keep your face and your face clean because you're the show of your business. Like, keep your
yes.
face clean and you have to network. Like right now, we're in such a good time of social media. So like follow people who are in your bracket. Like if you have 20,000 followers or if you
Mm,
have 200,000, network with the people in your bracket and then y'all bring each other up. And you'll be so surprised. Like it goes back to the universe. What you're putting out is going to come to you. This is like a guaranteed thing.
always.
So
Yeah.
network with people, y'all lift each other up and you get to that next level and you keep going and keep going, you know? Go
Oh,
outside too. You got to be around people who do what you do too. Like
yes.
it's not just going to come to you. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? And a lot of times it's like, oh, I don't want to do this today. I don't want to do that today. But you'd be surprised that one day that you push yourself, that you didn't want to go nowhere, but you just struggle and just put something on and went on, that you meet that, like you get that reward to the next level. The universe likes to play with you like that. They want to see if you're going to give up. And when you just get to that, like a breaking point, you
Hmm.
get elevated, but you got to keep going though.
That is a gem. Oh my, if I was taking
Woo!
notes, I would write that down. That is a network at your level because
Yeah.
listen,
Because you'll get more support that way. Like, you know how people are, they're hitey tighty, like they don't want to
mm-hmm,
or look down, unfortunately. Like, I'm not like that.
unfortunately.
I'll help whoever because that's not, I believe in the laws of karma. Like, I'm just like, if you came to me and there's somewhere I can help you, I feel like there's always a reason for things and your
Yeah.
blessings come back differently, you
Yeah,
know?
absolutely. Absolutely. There are some people that feel like, oh, if you aren't on my level, then I would never. And it's just like, but that's again where the karma and the blessings come in. You can miss out on a bag that was 10 times bigger in the future because you turned down helping someone. And it kind of goes back to the reason why a lot of people, when they do charity and stuff, they don't want to show their face doing charity because they know that whatever they do in private, the it will in public something
Yeah.
else would happen and you'll be like put on a pedestal in some other way or arena. So that was a great
Those are
job,
the
Skye.
real ones. Like, side note, the people who act like that, they're the phonies. They're usually people who like bought their way into where they had to go, or
Mm-hmm.
they had some sad trauma story, nothing against it, but they didn't get through that trauma. They're still bringing it with them. Because when you
Mm,
really get through your shit and when you really know what you're doing and you work to where you get to where you want to go, you're a real one and real recognized real. And real is not like that, you know?
yeah, no, that's true. That's absolutely true. The one thing now that I want to kind of taper into was what is one thing that you know now that you wish you knew, say, 10 years ago?
Oh, 10 years ago. How old was I back then? Yeah. um, invest in yourself.
Mhm.
Invest in yourself. Like it's okay to be, you're pretty, you think you have a little bit and you have a gift for that, but you got to invest in yourself. Like I wish I knew back then, like invest in yourself. Like of course, we're women, we keep up ourselves, our clothes or whatever, but your skills though, like even speaking, you might not know that you have like an accent that might not work in the acting world. I didn't know I had an accent. I
Mm.
thought I sounded American as ever. Like to invest in yourself, take your picture seriously. Like don't just do like enough to get by,
Mhm.
do enough to like make a standout, be prepared too. Like you got to be prepared. You never ever know. Pack a bag in your car with your makeup and your
Wow.
towel and like always have a pair of heels, a bathing suit. Like be ready because you just really never know, and that could be your one shot.
Wow, like I'm blown away because
Woo!
obviously I'm not in that industry, so I'm not, to me, prepared as like, like you said,
It applies.
as,
It applies to
yeah.
everybody. If you the gym bag you need to have, keep a gym bag. If you need to have a camera bag ready because Cardi might be at the gas station, keep your camera
Hmm.
bag ready. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? If
That
you're
is
into
good.
marketing or whatever, keep your business cards and your portfolio on deck right there in that email. You might see Pharrell at the casino. You don't know,
True. No, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. It's being prepared. Another. I know I keep saying this, but it's like you're saying that in, again, in the marketing world, we know what we have to do, right? We know how to brand a business, how to market a business, how to think of audiences and how to think of creatives. But to hear it from the other side, where it's just like preparation doesn't just look like, for me, preparation looks like knowing an audience. It's how much does my target sector make in their income? How do they
Mm-hmm.
spend money? How do they do certain things? And then knowing how to set up ads to cater to that. So I need to know how to do the copy and how to talk to that audience. So if I'm selling sneakers, I need to speak like a sneakerhead. But so being prepared for someone like myself or my business is completely different from being prepared on your end, because being prepared for you is, like you said, it's the bag in the back of the car.
Listen.
It's the swimsuit, because you never know what the opportunity. You probably see a famous photographer that wants to take some pictures of you, and you just got to throw on some highlight really quickly, and
Yeah.
and just go. Speak to us about preparation in the hair industry, whether it's on set or whatever that looks like. What is preparation there?
Working ahead, doing stuff. Like if I don't, like when I was starting off, I didn't have clients every day. Like the people, like I had a little bit of ego too. I kind of wanted to be like, oh, private people and like people who are, you know what I'm saying? So
Mm-hmm.
I still was going through days until I had to humble myself even more. But what I was doing on those days, I was still making wigs though. I was
Mm-hmm.
trying to keep up with the trends and make sure I have some transparent lace. And I was doing
Mm-hmm.
styles and putting highlights on wigs and having units ready. Because when like Spice called me, she wanted like 4 units colored, 4 units done, and like to get ready and be there on the spot, I would never be ready on time. But
Mm-hmm.
thank God I had a little lavender wig in the back, a bob that could work, because I was
Mm-hmm.
always working. You got to use that. I don't remember the amount of hours you got to put in, but you got to put in that 1,000 hours or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And sometimes it is doing like, the stuff when you think that, oh, I don't need to do it today or I could just chill. There's no chill time.
Yeah.
There's no chill time.
It's always
There's no
ready and
free
go.
time.
Time is not free. Time is not
Never.
free. I do want to, before we kind of close out, I do want to get back into something you mentioned at the top of the conversation about transitioning to online during COVID. Talk to us a little bit about that. What is it that you're doing online or transitioning online, and what does that look like for you?
Yeah, because I've noticed, like, of course, there was nowhere to go. Like, what are you really doing your hair for? Unless you're just a person who, like, you're just like, you just religious to your hair, which some
Yeah.
people were. Some people were still working. A lot of my nurse clients were still working and stuff like that. But no, it just took a turn, and I've just realized, you know what? Like, I can have a box here, and then I wanted to move to LA too. So I'm like, people can drop off their units. I can just. That's when you need to know when to hire help too. Like, there comes a time
Key.
when
Wait, hold on. Don't move from there.
you
Rewind.
gotta know
Say that
when to hire
again.
help.
Say that again.
Because I end up I could have, like, there was a time because it came to me twice to have like a little intern to help, and I was like, oh no, I got this, I need to make all of my money, like I want to know what's going on or whatever, and I ended up losing. So
Mm-hmm.
like 2 years into the business now, when these were happening, I wanted to be mobile and I want to expand. You got to know where to cut your corners at. Like
Yes.
now, okay, someone that there's young girls that are always looking up, they want to come up too. Give people a chance, share your brand, share what you know, share the legacy so it can build.
Yeah. Um,
Don't know when to hire help.
That is the key. Knowing when to hire help. A lot of people think that I need to be the only one making money. They, or not even just the only one making money. They're getting the income, but they don't want to also
Sure.
spend any money, not even share. Like they feel like, okay, if I'm making, for example, and I'm just throwing out random numbers, if I'm making $10,000 a month, I don't want to cut a check for 3,000 to someone else for them because they don't want to
Right.
go home with that seven. So
Right.
a lot of people kind of overwork themselves,
Yep.
and in overworking themselves, they don't produce at their highest level, right?
Burnout is real.
Yes, absolutely. So I'm glad that you brought that up to say, hey, hire help, even if it's not someone that's paid because you don't have the
Yeah.
money to pay them. There are people that are looking for the experience. So hire someone. High schoolers always need some
Yep.
kind of service hours, right? So get someone that
Yep.
can do like a 10 service hours for the week and just kind of help you, whether it's answer the phone for you, it's like booking
Wash the
clients or
hair, like whatever, comb
yes,
it out, iron it. Flat iron take
yeah.
long when the hair is long.
You are absolutely correct. So I do love that. And that's something for any business owner or anyone in any industry. Hire help. It's not to say, oh, I'm this big shot now, but it's also just
Yeah.
to kind of free you up so your craft can go ahead and just make way. Because what sense does it make if Skye, you're sitting up here, all you're doing is washing and coloring wigs. You don't have time to be installing. Who is going to be doing the
Yeah.
installation?
Or
Then
if someone call me for a modeling gig and I'm out of there, I need to be flexible. Like I don't want to be tied too much. Like,
absolutely,
them work
absolutely.
smart, not hard. That's all it comes down to.
Hey, I'm all about
Right?
working smart and not hard because who trying to work hard after all these years of slavery, right?
Slavery done. Slavery done.
For someone who is starting out in this industry, for both industries, we'll take it one at a time. For someone who started out in modeling and acting, what are some recommendations or advice you would give them? And then we'll jump into for business. We won't even just say here, but just like business in
Just
general.
business period.
Yeah.
In modeling that world, just jump in. Like don't be timid. Don't like find out where your weaknesses are and fine tune them and go in the jungle. Don't like I feel like a lot of time to kind of like tiptoe and kind of like slowly
Mm,
go for the juggler, like jump in, like go to an agency, let them tell you no, let them tell you what's like they don't like or what society is not into right now, so you can know, what I'm saying. I'm not saying to change yourself, you should always be who you are, but you need to be fine-tuned. If you're getting to an industry, if you want to do business, you have to go to college for it, you know what I'm
mm-hmm.
saying? So if you want to do a certain industry, you got to do your homework and be ready. For business, I would say, oh my gosh, consult with a firm, consult with people, have a business plan. Like I just winged it. I think Jamaicans think they could just do anything in the world. I get it. But no, I had to learn so many things so very hard
Yeah.
because I didn't, I don't have that like background around me and I didn't go to school for business, you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I was just learning things on Google or just trying a thing. Like, no,
Yeah.
sit down, make a plan, put like time behind it, make like weekly goals, have like monthly goals, and have your yearly goals and smash them,
Yeah.
but don't wing it. Don't wing it. Sit
So
down and do some research.
I'm glad you mentioned winging it because a lot of, and it's in our culture and it's in our nature. I'm Jamaican, you're Jamaican. One of the things is, oh, and I just had this conversation with my uncle this week because he's tried everything, right? He has tried about probably 15 different business and burnt
Oh
so much
wow.
money. So I told him, I said, hey, one of the things that people missing is the research. So you speak about winging it and like, oh, don't wing it. Just if you're able to just speak a little bit more to someone who's just like, oh, I can start this apparel business or I can start that. What would you say to that person? I know you said like prepare and
Make
don't.
a checklist. Make a checklist. There's like certain little things that are just, we can even just say off our head, like, you need to have a logo. It needs to look a
Mhm.
certain way now. Now there's people who make like logo suites. You can have your main logo, your alternate logo, and a submark logo that you'd
Mhm.
be so surprised makes the biggest difference in how your business looks. You know what I'm
Absolutely.
saying? It's everything's to the eye now. Everybody's watching. We're in this microwave generation where everything is right now. What's the new thing? What's this? So if you don't come out the gate now with a certain bare minimum, no one's really even looking at you or taking you seriously. And people only take you as seriously as you take yourself. So put
Absolutely.
into your business, make a checklist. You
Hmm.
got to have a logo. You got to have a website. You need a designer. You need all these little pre things. Like set yourself up so when you take off, you really go to the moon.
Hmm. Yeah, that's amazing. And you just mentioned checklists for logos. branding, people, is super, 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 super important. Your brand has to be unique to yourself. And that's something that I really admire about you, Skye. Like, your brand is your brand. We know who you are. We know what you stand for. Then once you branched out into doing here for Skytrax here, you had your brand. So people knew what that was. Whether you started as a luxury brand and then you built up into celebrity clientele, you knew what that brand was. So shouts out to you for for saying that. And I can sit here and talk to you all day. I love you genuinely every time. And I told you, I told you every time if I pick up my phone and hit you, it's never a no. It's, Mo, what do you need? And I love you for that. It's always love since like school days. It's crazy. So to kind
you
of
still have that Monique nameplate?
I do have that. I do have that. When I'm feeling like vintage, I throw that on with like a bunch of other stuff. But I do have that. I love that nameplate.
The Myuze originator nameplate that's busted now, but Myuze original.
Oh my God, you went throwback. Oh my gosh. So for people, how can anyone contact you, or how can they find you on social media?
On social media, well, my handle for Instagram is Sky Excell. It's the same on Twitter, or just my website, skyexcell.net. Or if you need anything for hair, skytraxhair.net.
Can you spell Skytrax Hair for us, because I know it has like double Y
it's
somewhere, right?
skyexcell.com for me. Skytraxhair.net for the business. It's SKYYTRAXX hair.net.
Perfect. Check it out, people. It's some amazing stuff, and follow her on social media. It's a good follow. You have some gems, especially with horoscope. Like, I'm going through the story. I'm like, hold on, let me go check my horoscope today.
Check it out. Check your moon. Check your rising.
Yeah. Wait, before we leave, tell me a little bit about that, like the moon and the rising stuff, because I have no clue. All I know is I'm a Cancer, and that's it.
Cancer. There's like, and it's so funny because when a Cancer meets another Cancer, you realize that like y'all are not the same. You guys are emo as hell. We love you for it though. But like Cancers are different. One, we grow up differently, so you're gonna have a different tweaks, but we do have an ascending sign and a rising sign. So one is how people actually view you. It's different. And then one is how you deal with your emotions. So just Google it, use a calculator, and you'll be so surprised. Like, you might like get along with Scorpios very, very well. Well, no, you would, because you're a Cancer. Let me use something else. You might like get along with Capricorn people very well, and it's not like a usual thing for Cancer, but you might realize or find out that you have Capricorn in your chart now. So that's like where you go ahead and you relate to them, because when it comes to like a certain area of your life, like being tedious or being super wise, you relate to them there because that's how they are, and it just makes you know more about yourself, so you could break yourself down and know like, damn, I get really emotional to this, or like this really like pokes my button because of like your other signs.
Oh, okay. So like I'm telling you, I'm on Twitter and I see all the time, oh, my rising moon, and I'm just like, what is all
tap in, Mo, tap in. You're already so bomb. This is such a great platform. Like, I can't wait to see where this goes. Like, I just know it, because this is what we need right now. We need to be uplifting each other. And, like media, these shows is the real, this is the new TV. This is the new everything. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So shout out to you, because this is going to blow. You heard it here first. You heard it here first.
From your ears, from your mouth to God's ears. Thank you. I really, really appreciate that, guys. This was another great episode of Conversation with Myuze with Skye. And follow us if you like anything that you heard today. Subscribe, hit the subscribe button on all platforms. On YouTube, subscribe. Also follow us on social media at Myuze_marketing on Instagram. On Facebook, it's Myuze Marketing Group. If you have any questions or concerns and you're too shy to leave it in the comments, you can send us an email at hello@Myuze Marketing, and Myuze is spelled MYUZE marketing.com. So reach out to us, and I'm here for a conversation. I'm here if you guys want to pick my brain a little bit. Yeah, and that's it. Skye, again, I love you. I love you. I love you. Thank you so much for coming along. And I expect nothing but greatness from you always. So thank you again for being a part of this.
Anytime. I'm going to go start Sunday dinner now.
All right.
All right. Take care.
Bye.